This is Chris Kopko for the William Bush Planetarium of Washington County Public Schools, and you found Skylights, presented in cooperation with Antietam Cable Television and the Herald Mail newspaper, found at antpod.com. Skylights will take you on a journey through the October sky and will help you to locate some of the objects you can find with just your eyes, or maybe a decent pair of binoculars. Although not essential for this podcast, it's always a good idea to have a map of the night sky handy to help you find your way around. One can be found in the column Our Friendly Skies on the Herald Mail's website or the Record Herald at the beginning of the month, or downloaded from the Tri-State Astronomers website found at tristateastronomers.org. A red flashlight is also always handy to have along to help you to be able to see your map without affecting your night vision too much. This podcast is intended to give a tour of the night sky at about 9:30 p.m. near the beginning of the month and closer to 8 p.m. by the end of the month. If you're using this podcast much later at night, the objects in the podcast will appear to be in different places due to the rotation of the Earth. Let's start by getting our bearings. First, think back to where the sun set on the horizon. Face that direction. You are now facing west. Turning 90 degrees to the right will have you facing north, while turning 90 degrees to the left will have you facing south. Turning around to look directly behind you will have you facing east. In addition, the zenith is found by looking at the point in the night sky that is directly overhead at your location. Now, a great way to get around the sky is to find star patterns you're familiar with, and use these star patterns to help you to navigate the sky. One pattern that's easy to find will be low in the northern sky and is called the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper is a group of 7 stars that form a dipper shape in the sky. 3 stars mark the handle and are pointing back toward the west at this time of night, while 4 stars mark the cup of the dipper, which is opened up toward the south. Though you may have heard the Big Dipper called a constellation, it's actually something we call an asterism instead. This is because it's part of a bigger constellation known as Ursa Major, the Great Bear. If you use your imagination to connect the stars in this part of the sky, you really can see a bear here, with the tail of the bear made up of the stars in the handle of the Big Dipper, and its body extended up through the cup to the east. You can also use the Big Dipper to help you to determine direction. Look at the 2 stars which make up the outside of the cup of the Big Dipper. These are known as the pointer stars, and they point directly to Polaris. Just follow a line extended from the 2 pointer stars out the top of the cup, about 5 times the distance between those 2 stars. This will lead you to Polaris, also known as the North Star. Once you've found the North Star, you know you're facing almost directly north. You can then figure out your other directions from this. West would be 90 degrees to your left, east 90 degrees to your right, and south directly behind you 180 degrees. Now that you've found Polaris, you can see that it's part of the constellation Ursa Minor, the Little Bear, or the Little Dipper. Polaris is the star at the end of the handle of the Little Dipper, which extends to the west from Polaris, with the cup of the Little Dipper opening to the north. This constellation can be difficult for beginners to find because the stars that make the inside part of the cup and a few of the handle stars are faint and can be difficult to see with bright moonlight or too much light pollution, making it difficult to pick out the Little Dipper. The Great Bear and the Little Bear are what are known as circumpolar constellations because from our viewpoint at this latitude, these constellations never completely set throughout the night. Instead, they appear to revolve around the North Star. Now we'll look back to the Big Dipper to help us locate some constellations that can also be found in the northern sky. Go back to the pointer stars and follow the line through them to the North Star, and then keep going until you get to the next bright star. This is the top of the house-shaped constellation known as Cepheus the King. You can make a triangle with the other 2 stars to the south and just a little west with a square just past the triangle, making what looks like a house with a triangle-shaped roof. If you're still facing north toward the North Star, you can look to the left or east of Cepheus to see a W-shaped constellation. This is Cassiopeia the Queen, and she's supposed to be sitting chained to a chair here in the sky. From here, if you have dark skies and can see the band of the Milky Way stretching across the sky from the northeast to the southwest, go up to the Milky Way toward the zenith, toward the southwest, and you'll find a bright star very close to the zenith. Make a quarter turn from the north to the left to face west. The bright star you see near the zenith is Deneb, which marks the tail of the constellation Cygnus the Swan. Cygnus is a cross-shaped constellation with Deneb as the top of the cross, and the main body of the cross stretches toward the southwest from there. This is also the body of Cygnus. The arms of the cross, which extend out to the southeast and northwest, also mark the wings of the swan. The cross here is also known as the asterism, the Northern Cross. From Deneb, look just a little down toward the western horizon until you come to an even brighter star. This is Vega, which is the brightest star in the constellation Lyra the Harp, with the strings of the harp represented by a parallelogram shape to the left or south of Vega. Continue from there even further to the south to find a bright star between the two dimmer stars. This is Altair, which is in the head of Aquila the Eagle, while the body and wings of the eagle extend down toward the southwest horizon. These three bright stars, Deneb, Vega, and Altair, also connect to make the asterism known as the Summer Triangle. If you've got a pair of binoculars or a small telescope, scan the region not quite halfway from Altair to Deneb, and you'll find the bright Dumbbell Nebula, shining at magnitude 7.5. This nebula, a popular target amongst amateur astronomers, is a planetary nebula, which are typically associated with red giant stars near the end of their stellar life cycle. You can find another planetary nebula by going back to Lyra and scanning the area between the two southernmost stars with a pair of binoculars or a small telescope as well. Here you'll find the Ring Nebula, easy to spot and clearly ring-shaped even through small telescopes. Still facing west, look just above Altair, the bright star between two dimmer stars, to find a small group of stars without much around it. If you connect these stars together, you get what looks like the old Miami Dolphins football helmet logo. This small constellation is Delphinus the Dolphin. Delphinus can help you to then find another constellation in the eastern part of the sky. Turn around to face east and look high in the sky to see Delphinus. Follow the gaze of Delphinus back down toward the east, and just a little over halfway up between the horizon and the zenith, you'll see a big square of stars. This is the Great Square of Pegasus. Pegasus is supposed to be a flying horse with wings, legs, and head all extending from stars in the Great Square. Look to the north of the northeasternmost star in the square, and you'll see what looks like a faint smudge in the sky. This is the Andromeda Galaxy, which is made of about 1 trillion stars and is the closest large spiral galaxy to our own Milky Way. Eventually, the Andromeda Galaxy and our own Milky Way will collide to form one giant elliptical galaxy, though if you want to see it, you'll need to find a good book to keep you busy, as the collision isn't predicted to occur for about another 4 billion years or so. Use your binoculars or telescope to see what the Andromeda Galaxy will look like to the naked eye in the distant future as the two galaxies move even closer together. Now that we've found some constellations, let's talk planets. Unlike last October, this October offers plenty of opportunities for planet lovers to get their fill of evening planetary viewing. Start by looking to the southwest after sunset, and you'll find a very bright object low on the horizon. This is Venus, and it's the brightest of all planets as seen from Earth. Venus will spend the entire month setting around an hour to an hour and a half after the sun in this part of the sky. If you keep an eye on Venus throughout the month, you'll see it move closer and closer to a few other bright objects as it goes from Libra into Scorpius. These objects, not nearly as bright as Venus, are golden-colored Saturn and orange Antares, the brightest star in Scorpius. Watch Venus go through the uprights of Saturn and Antares on the night of the 27th. The final planet found in the evening skies with the naked eye is Mars, which moves throughout the constellation Sagittarius the Archer this month. Mars shines a reddish-orange color in the south at sunset, and will consistently set a little after 11 o'clock each night. If you have a pair of binoculars or a telescope, you can also look for Neptune and Uranus, which are both out at sunset and stay out a large portion of the night. Look for Neptune in Aquarius and Uranus in Pisces. If you have very dark skies, you might even be able to spot Uranus with the naked eye, but it will be faint and you'll need to know just where to look. This October is also good for astronomical events, including not one, but 2 meteor showers. We'll begin with the first meteor shower of the month, the Draconids, which will be difficult to spot this year as they are competing with a waxing crescent moon. Unlike most showers, the best time to view the Draconids is during the early evening, so it's worth taking a chance to see if you can spot any through the moonlight. The Draconids will peak on the evening of October 7th, with about 10 meteors per hour typical for the peak of this shower, with most appearing to originate from the constellation Draco the Dragon. The second meteor shower this month should be a little better as the Orionids peak on the evening of October 21st into the morning hours of October 22nd. The third quarter moon may wash out some of the dimmer meteors, but meteors associated with this shower are often bright, and many should still be visible even with the moonlight. Typically, the shower produces around 20 meteors per hour at its peak, and the meteors are bits of rock left behind by Halley's Comet. As the Earth revolves around the Sun, it passes through debris left behind by comets, and this is what typically causes meteor showers to occur and to be so predictable in when they occur. A typical meteor is only a small pebble-sized piece of material that enters the Earth's atmosphere and burns up upon entry, which we see as a meteor streaking across the night sky. Well, that's the night sky for October 2016. This has been Chris Kopko from the William Brish Planetarium for Skylights. Skylights was made possible through cooperation with Antietam Cable Television, the Herald Mail newspaper, and Washington County Public Schools, and is found on the Washington County Public Schools YouTube channel and at antpod.com.